What's up, dream builder? Are you someone who's interested in creating a life by your design through all things real estate? Well, I can assure you, you are in the right place. Join me, your host, Casanova Brooks. I'm an award winning real estate agent and investor as we uncover the top tips, strategies, and the mindset of the top real estate entrepreneurs across the world. Stay locked in because we're about to go on a journey that will change your life. What's up, Dream Nation? We are back again with a real estate episode that I'm excited to bring to you because we have my sister on the show, Miss Fee Gentry. Fee, you want to go ahead and say what's up to Dream Nation?
What's up, Dream Nation? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're watching this podcast. So, yeah, it is good to be on. Thank you, brother, for having me on here, Casanova. It's been a while. We've been trying to get this done. So,
We've
yeah.
been trying to get this done for a minute, but I knew that you were super busy, and when the stars align, there's magic that happens. And so today the stars align, so we're going to make magic happen. But I always love to start off my shows by comparing us as real estate entrepreneurs to superheroes. And the reason being is because we're constantly flying around the world, we're putting on a cape, and we're trying to solve some of the world's biggest problems. And so my question to you is, we know about all of the superheroes like Superman and even Superwoman, but we don't know necessarily about the Clark Kents and the Lois Lane. So what I want to ask you is, behind the Superwoman that we know as Fee Gentry, who is that Lois Lane?
Huh, that's very interesting. That Lois Lane is somebody who is, mine is probably going back to Wakanda, but but that Lois Lane is somebody who's this kid. I always like this little girl from the Monterey Peninsula. That's what I always go back to. Not shy because I've got great skills, but a little bit more reserved to a certain degree. Nerdy, studious, driven, thought provoking. That's kind of who I am in a nutshell. When I'm not wearing my
S
Wonder
on your
Woman,
chest. When you're not wearing.
my Wonder Woman, yeah, my Wonder Woman outfit. Yeah, when I'm not wearing that Wonder Woman outfit, is
Got
is
it.
yeah, it's more chill, reserved. Don't have to be in that social settings and circles. Yeah, that's kind of it. But yeah, to read like a studier, all things study, reading, curious about life. Yeah,
Got
about
it.
business. Yeah, yeah.
So would you describe yourself, and I'm sure a lot of people can resonate with that, where they're like, yeah, that's me too. But would you describe yourself as more introverted or extroverted, or do you even, you're like, nah, I don't even look at those titles?
I'm a mexovert. I think that's what's that new word where I'm a combination of the two. Literally, when I take tests, I'm a combination of an introvert and extrovert. I've got great social skills, so I operate like you would never know that I'm more shy. Don't care to be around people for a long period of time.
Hmm.
But I think they call it a mexovert or something like that. I'm like a mix of the two. Yeah.
Got it. All right. So you have been in real estate now, I want to say for over 15 years, the 2004. So we're going to 16 years. So talk to me about, from somebody who has always been more reserved, and then all of a sudden you decide that you're going to get into real estate where you got to be around people, you got to build relationships. Where did that come from? Were you pushed into it? Did you always have a fascination with real estate? What did that look like?
Man, I'm more of an entrepreneur. So don't let the smooth taste fool you. Yeah, I'm very I'm out there in the public eye. Really, I knew that from the age of 6 that if I was going to work and I saw my mom being my role model, if I was going to work, I might as well be the boss. And my parents always raised us that way. So if
Mm,
I was going to work, I was going to be the boss, and I knew that I wanted to attain wealth and independence, not more so independence and freedom. And so as an entrepreneur, I read, all the books, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, all those books. And I saw that real estate was the cornerstone of wealth. And
mm,
when I discovered that, I didn't think I was going to be on the sales side of it. I planned on being on the ownership side of it. And I did have some ownership, but guess what I found out?
what's that?
After owning like 10, 11 houses, I don't like the ownership side of managing other people. And people think, well, you're in the real estate business. That's fine. But I prefer, what's funny, I prefer to invest in stocks and businesses and real estate investment trusts, but I don't like taking on the risk of being a property manager and a house flipper, did all that stuff. Been there, done that. Don't want to do it. Yeah.
Man, and that's powerful because for some people, they think that that's the only way that they can get into real estate. I got to own single family homes. I got to manage the property. But the beautiful thing about real estate is there's so many ways to skin a cat. People are out there. I got educated. People are out there flipping land, right?
Yeah,
There's no
right.
toilets. There's no nothing. People are like, they wholesale land. And I'm like, that's really a thing? And they're like, yeah, we just find big plots of land. And so I love that you said that. And for you, you said you started out as an entrepreneur. Was real estate not your first business venture?
Oh no, no. I've owned 9 different companies. So I started off in the industry of my goal at the age of 15 or 16 was to own a physical therapy and sports medicine center. So that's where my mindset is. So I have a bachelor's in, physiological psychology, pre-physical therapy, master's in business. I got my MBA, but I've owned 11 companies, one of them in 9 different industries: fitness, rehabilitation, sports, marketing, event management. I owned a sports event marketing management company. I have a patent I own a custom luggage company. I own a patent in a custom luggage design that I've designed. I own a patent in a rehabilitation. I've been awarded patents for awards in rehab and sports medicine. So apparatus. So that's my jam. But I've sold all kinds of stuff. I'm an entrepreneur. Yeah.
I love it. And I hope somebody listening to that, they understand that they don't have to be stuck in one zone of genius. And but what I want to ask you though is because people are thinking or watching or listening right now and they're like, how has she done it all and continued to pivot without getting hung up? So because after you do the first business, a lot of people, they get stuck with that one business, but they know that they have their hearts and their desires on maybe something else. How were you able to bring yourself to try this other business and continue to reinvent yourself and continue to pivot?
I Really simple. I'm an athlete. And so that when you come with that athlete and competitive mindset, you can't be thinking about that last bad shot you made. You can't think about that last race that you had when you're racing, or you hit if you're playing volleyball and you hit the ball out of bounds. You have to get to the next thing to get you to that next thing, to that next success. And if you fail forward a lot, we talk about practice. We talk about practice. When you practice a lot, and you fail, then it's easy to make those quick decisions. And that's what I think one of my superpowers is failing and then going to the next thing and making a decision and not being fearful of it. And
Mm.
now that I've gotten older, it's more calculated risk. And I don't care about risk, but it's more calculated risk because now it's based off of research, experience, and then knowing who I am and what it takes to get to the next level on a business. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love it for somebody. There's a lot of people that are going to be watching this. They're like, oh man, she's so right. Because we all teach that. Even if you've coached your kids in sports, you tell them that play, you got to get over it. We're going into basketball season right now. My son plays a lot of basketball, and I've coached him his whole life. He's only 9, but he's been playing since he was 3. And he still plays up and he's good. But we always tell him and his teammates that last play, it's over. Like you can't put your head down, especially because you got 4 other people that are on the court that need you to get back. And so the same thing could be said in life, that you got other people, your family, your friends, your accountability partners that need you to get back into the game because we still got more work to do and we are not at 0, 0, 0 because we're still alive. So I love that you said that, and that's a great analogy. And I'll probably have to steal that in some way when people ask me how have I continued to keep going. It's, you know what? Because I heard one time I'm an athlete. And that's what we keep doing. So I think that's great. Now, for you, when you first started out and you got into real estate, what was your journey like? Did you first start out and you hit the ground running? Did you start out and you didn't have a lot of mentorship, so you were slow to start? What was that like for you?
Man, Casanova, I didn't know a lockbox from a listing when I got in the business. I was like, real estate? I had no idea. But what I did know how to do was put butts in seats. I understood marketing. And so my first year, I sold 39 homes. Literally 39 homes. The following year, I did 47. And the following year after that, I did
Wait,
like
wait,
six.
wait, 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 wait. Let's not jump on to the second, third, fifth year when you do 150 homes. How did you do 39 homes in the first year?
Direct marketing. I
Direct
did
market.
went into I was at the big red company. And so they have this training course. And I took this training course with Sweat Hogs and I forgot what it was named. And it was more traditional. I knew that I didn't want to do that. I was listening to them about for sale by owner expireds. And I was like, I know that's not. So what I got from that training was I got a very clear vision of what I did not want to do. And I said, okay, if all these people, there were about 100 some people sitting in this training, in this class, if all these people are doing this, I'm going to do exactly the opposite because I knew that direct response marketing, which is based on consumer behavior and emotional responses to things, I knew that was going to work. And I worked again coming from the sports industry, coming from the marketing industry, people buy on emotion. All this other stuff was like rationale and persuasion and all that. Nope, I needed to pivot to emotion, fast response, things that people, and solving people's problems. And it was about, people don't want to quote be sold, but they want to, like they said,
Right.
they want to buy or they want to sell. And it was about solving I knew that what I solved for them was certainty. I provided the problem that they had was uncertainty. My solution was certainty. Guaranteed home sale. So I knew I was going to sell your home. Back then it was like sell your home in 90 days or less. I knew that. With buying, I knew that I could buying. I said, I know I can guarantee that I'll save you $10,000 or I'll pay you $1,000. It's winning. That's winning.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's marketing messaging. It was the way I packaged it. Yeah, that's it.
Got it. I
And
love
then
it.
and then I was on the news, and then I made myself micro famous. So I became micro famous in the marketplace. I didn't, and by the way, when I moved to the Killeen Fort Hood area, I didn't know anybody. I didn't
Mm.
know anybody. The person who owned a house was my mom. She already owned a house. That's how I got in the business. She already owned a house. So I made myself micro famous.
Made yourself micro famous. And talk
Yeah.
to, so there's a lot of people that's listening right now that might be just brand new, and they said you did a guarantee. What does that guarantee look like? Because they're like, okay, can I do a guarantee in today's market? Does those tactics still work?
Absolutely. Yeah. The guarantee with parameters was that I was going to sell your house. And so the house had to be within a certain parameters. It had to have comps. So your guarantee can have all the little star asterisks and terms and conditions that you want on it. There had to be comps within the last 6 months. The house had to be between a certain price range. It couldn't be a manufactured home. It had to be a single family residence. It had these parameters of homes. So I pretty much guaranteed that I knew the home was going to sell within 90 days or less. And that it had to be priced according to, not way below market, but had to be priced according to the marketplace. And then put in, again, aggressive marketing measures. And this is social media. This
Right.
was straight up marketing. We did ads and papers, and it was just AOL, AOL boards and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Man, no, that's a lot of wisdom right there. And I remember when I first got into the business, people were doing those guarantees, and this was what 4.5 years ago. And I was always wondering, and then I found out because you just gotta ask enough people. But I was like, how can people guarantee that they'll sell your house, or otherwise they'll buy it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that became the parameters of, hey, you still got to follow these things. And if you follow these things, there's no reason, because what I learned was there's only two reasons that a house doesn't sell. It's price or condition.
Condition,
Most
yeah.
of the time it's just that one of price.
Yeah.
If the
Yeah.
price is good enough, somebody will buy it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And no, I'm glad that was wisdom right there. So then you came out and you hit the ground running. Did you ever hit a ceiling where you felt like you needed more, or like how did you get to your next transition in your career?
Sure. It smacked me in the jaw. I got like everything's good. So somebody hit you in the face.
Right.
And that's what happened. 2008. I was blowing a good. I think we were on track to do 70 plus homes that year, and we were on pace. But I knew, like, I saw the marketplace shifting and changing, but I didn't have the mentors in place, because at that time the broker was like, sell, sell, sell. And the national company that we're under was telling you the market's good, the market's fine, keep selling. And we're like, wait a minute, people are losing their homes. The war was going on. We were in Afghanistan and Iraq, and soldiers were deploying. So it was just a weird time in our country. And I was like, wait, stock market's crashing, and I didn't know what to do. And so like I said, man, this thing hit me in the face. And I was working 90 hours a week, 100 hours a week. And I literally, and I had a choice, and I don't tell this story too much, but I was watching all our property values go down. One was included, and I had just bought a brand new home, brand new construction home. My property was going down. I watched $46,000 bottom out of my house.
Hmm.
And I didn't make a choice. And I owned 10 homes. When I told you about I owned 10 homes at that time. And I was doing this pretty house strategy. So I bought 10 new construction type homes, and I had people doing lease to own in those properties. A couple of them I bought outright, but I had over $1 million. So I was a millionaire, quote, on paper, but I had no equity in these houses. And so I ended up having all these mortgages that I was responsible for. So I got rid of a few of them. My own house, I did a deed in lieu of foreclosure. My house was so underwater, I was like, it didn't make sense for me to pay it. But as a real estate agent, I'm helping other people buy and sell, helping them with their problems. And I was drowning. And so that was what stopped me. Like that stopped me cold in my tracks. And I was like, I don't ever want any other real estate agent or myself to ever go through that. And I was watching, I was watching my friends' cars, their Mercedes getting repoed, and there were
Wow.
people losing their house, and we were all like faking the funk. We were just faking and fronting, and I was just terrified. Was having anxiety and stuff, and I said, that's what changed my career. I knew that I could not do that ever again.
What's up, Dream Builder? I hope that you're getting a lot of value from this episode. Note takers are money makers. So I hope that you're taking lots of notes, and I hope that you'll implement something that will help to change your real estate career. If you want even more access, even more resources, and you want a community to help keep you accountable, well, I want to invite you to head on over to DreamNationAcademy.com. Again, that's DreamNationAcademy.com. That's where I hang out as well as the team, and we host so many resources to help you along your real estate journey. So again, that's DreamNationAcademy.com. Let's go ahead and hop back on into it. Wow. And so what was the next step? Obviously you had to dig yourself back out of that. You sold, the market came back. But then did you take a different route or a different approach?
Yeah. I took a year. I took my brother and I, so during the probably 2008 to 2010, it was almost a year and a half. I said I was never selling real estate again. I was burnt out. I was tired. I put my license on hold. And it was literally like 3 weeks before my license was expired for almost 2 years. Me and my brother were doing flips and reset flips and lease buyouts and kind of like short sale stuff. That's all we were doing, helping families get out of that situation in throughout Texas. And 2014, the market started getting back up. And so I was like, you know what, let me get back in, because the market was looking good. But I did two different things. I said, if I'm going to enter back in the business, number one, I'm going to move to a marketplace, because my average home sale was $162,000. So you know how many homes I had to sell to make good money.
So that's about what my market is now. So yeah.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, it was, my average home sale was like 162,000. 45 minutes up the road is Austin. So with average home sale was double that. And I said, I gave myself a raise by moving up to the Austin area. In my office, my brokerage was there anyways. I had been always commuting back and forth from the Austin marketplace. I was selling homes in the Austin market, but I was just dabbling. So I made that decision. And the second most important decision in 2014, 2015 was that I said, if I'm going to sell homes, it's going to be on my terms, my conditions, and the type of homes. And so I went into the new home construction marketplace. I have not sold a resale home since 2015. Don't like resale homes. I never just really have it. Part of it was from being the scars of being a Black agent with that. I'm fine with, if you're a listing, I do listings, and if you're buying a new construction home. But if you're just listing to sell your house and you want to go buy a resale home, I'm going to refer that out, because that's not where my focus is. I'm focused on move ups. Sell your old house to put you into a new house. If you're buying a house and you want to buy a resale house, I'm not your girl. And what I usually do is I can convert probably 8 to 10 of those people to buy new construction.
Got it. Now, what's the benefit of converting somebody to buy new construction? Like, why did you, besides the headache that maybe comes with it, what was the reason that you were like, nah, new construction is my zone? For somebody out there that doesn't know what area, what niche, what they want to specialize in, why would they look at new construction?
Very simple. New construction, especially in a overheated market, one, you're going to get new materials, you're going to get latest designs, you're going to be usually in a master plan community that are zoned to good schools, better resources. You're going to have buyer incentives from the builder, which is down payment assistance, closing costs. You'll get all the extras into a house, like upgrades that you may want on a house, etc. And then like buying a resale car versus buying a new car, sometimes the interest rates are even better. They have better financing programs and packages, especially if you're financing through the builder, where your title costs are paid and there are incentives to buy down interest rates on loans, or the builder might might do it, or loans might be a better fit. And especially for first-time home buyers, my secondary market are women. Women are the second fastest growing demographic in the United States of buying homes between the ages of 35 to 65. So I've got about 60-something% of my clients are professional women who make over 100K a year who are buying homes.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah, people don't want to sit on a toilet seat, a dirty, gritty toilet seat, especially in the era of COVID. Yeah, I want to be the person to sit on the toilet seat. Right? So that's why I talk about that. And then also, you're not competing in the marketplace with resale. I'm talking to my friends and our colleagues who we work with, and they got, especially here in Austin, 16, 17, 10 multiple offers on homes.
Oh
That's
yeah.
crazy. Yeah, and on my listings, we've got multiple offers on these listings, and I'm like, I could go down the street to the new home construction community. You're not having to make multiple offers. You can get the home that you want, whether inventory or build from scratch. Case
Hey.
closed. Oh, and by the way, when I'm working with the new home construction, that sales agent does most of the work. They do all the heavy lifting. I just
Mm.
had to go in there, present to them the home, and of course I'm specialized in new home construction, so I understand what the construction process is. But I go in there, they have buying signs, I shut up and let them finish closing the house, selling the
Right.
house, and I'm done.
And you're good. There's the cherry on the top. So if anybody's thinking that, hey, new construction might be for them, and you're wondering, how do I know that? Think about, do any of those points resonate with you? And especially in the world of COVID, you tell somebody, lead with that. It's like, what type of toilet seat top you want to be sitting on?
Exactly. Just say it.
Just saying, hey, you can do
Just
it.
saying. And I used to teach a class that's like how to earn an extra 6 figures a year selling new home construction. So it doesn't have to be your primary niche, but it should be in your arsenal. Yeah. And
Got it.
so yeah,
Cool. I
yeah.
love it. So you just educated us on that. It's so great. Now, I want to fast forward because you've been able to be a leader in a time where I would tell you one thing. There's so many things that's going so fast in a new startup, which is the brokerage that you're at right now, the brokerage that we're at right now. It's a new startup. And you've been able to partner with the brokerage and found a organization, or at least a entity, a part of this organization that has really helped people who look like us, but just really minorities in general. And so can you talk about that and what exactly it is?
Sure. Actually, there's two of them that I founded or co-founded. The first one, when I came to EXP Realty, is our brokerage. I came there in 2017, and like I said, I was very fortunate to be invited by Gene Frederick, who's one of our major influencers, to go play golf and be at these conferences. And I looked, and I was the only person who looked like me in the
Mm,
room. And they were, like I said, they're talking about major decisions that influence and impact us as a company, and as individual agents. And it was actually Jason Guessing, the
mm.
CEO of our company, who said, Fee, you should start an organization for Black agents. What? No, Jason, we just had, it was weird. It was right before we had the other election, after the outcome of the other election that we had in
Got it. When
2016,
Donald Trump first
2017.
got elected.
When Donald Trump first got elected, I was like, I am not getting ready to start any kind of thing with the Black EXP network. He's like, and Jason's like, no, you need to do that. There's a difference of how African American agents, their experience is different than their counterparts with real estate and all this stuff. This is Jason. And I was like, man, I'm not doing that. So that was in July. And then Christmas, I'm running to Jason again at a Christmas party, and Jason was like, Fee, you really need to start this organization. And then Julie Nelson from the GLBTQ Pride Network said the same thing. She's like, yeah, just start a Facebook group. It's, collaboration and etc. Crickets. I was like, man, I don't want to do this, but I did it on December of 2018. Started it, and started out with 12 of us, and now we're over 2,100 agents and growing, almost 2,200 agents of Black agents and allies who specifically work with the African American community and or advocates for our community. And but like I said, I'm a California girl, and I've always grown up around like I said, that thing about inside me has been introspective and probably an empathy, like empath or whatever we call it,
Yeah.
about other people and other cultures. I've been able to travel the world and see other cultures, and I said I want something bigger. And even with the civil rights marches, we always had to do it in conjunction with other people. It wasn't just Black people in of ourselves couldn't change the moral fabric of our society in this country. It had to be others. And I said I would love to see a diverse and an inclusive community. And so I was texting Glenn Sanford, who was our CEO and founder, or who was the CEO at that time. He's the CEO of EXP World Holdings and founder, about a diversity and inclusion initiative that I'd like to see it for a huge umbrella of all races, ethnicities, non-protected classes of veterans and those who were disabled, etc. And so Glenn was like, Fee, Literally, that was my Q2 goals, and I was going to reach out to you about, see if you would be interested in that. So I got to work with Glenn Sanford, me and a small group of us, for about 6 weeks, 3 times a week, where we just worked on these diversity and inclusion initiatives. And we just continue to say, what do we want EXP to look like? And we wanted EXP to be the most diverse and inclusive brokerage, not only just in the country, but in the world. We
Right.
want to change the industry. And that comes from Glenn, Jason, Dave, all of our leadership, our CEO, it's baked in our DNA.
Yeah.
It's baked in our DNA. And so I was able to be a co-founder with Glenn Sanford and I to found it. And then there's a small group of us who work together as a core team to push out the initiatives of diversity and inclusion and it means not just being, we're not talking about tokenism or representation. We're talking about having a seat at the table to guide, impact, and lead our agents and our staff in a way that no other brokerage has ever done. We're leveling the playing field. Yeah, leveling the playing field.
Period. I 1,000% agree. And I remember when I first went to the EXP, conference that we had was it was 2 years ago now. And that was the first time that I was exposed to one EXP. And that was the first time that I was exposed to you and just to tell people when I came back home that we did have the Black EXP network, which we call Ben, and to see that there was people that it wasn't, and we were an exclusive thing, but it was the one thing that was like, hey, we want to make sure that you feel the representation of people who look like you from all across the country, so you don't feel, like you said, tokenism. And I thought that was one of the things that right away I was like, man, not only do we got dope Black and no matter minority leaders in the company, but they were allowing them and us to be who we were without feeling like, hey, you guys stay on that side and we'll be on this side, and you let me know if you want to come over to this side.
Exactly. Yeah, this is the first time ever that I've ever experienced, and I was at the Big Red company before, and I've had experiences with other people within the industry, that it is a agent-driven movement. It is an agent-driven movement, and it is within, like I said, it's within our culture, and we believe that everybody has a place to belong at EXP, no matter who you are. That we know that diversity and inclusion makes dollars and cents even. So there's an economic argument for it, not just an ethic and moral obligation. There's an economic opportunity to this. And so our leaders and our company understand that. They understand the demographics of where real estate's going in the future. And if we're going to be a global company, which we are, we have to set that standard within our company. And it makes dollars and cents. They're like, well, I'm in Nebraska. How does that apply to me? I'm an old white guy in Nebraska. Because the demographics show that Asians are moving there, African Americans are moving there. As people become more diverse, or anywhere, it doesn't matter where you are. If you're within the company, we're all agent owners. And so everybody needs to do well everywhere. It impacts all of us.
And it impacts all of our stock. If you
Right, our
look at
stock,
it,
yeah.
I would have never thought. So let's back up a little bit. When you first heard about EXP, were you excited? Were you somebody that you heard it the first year, you didn't move on it, or did you see it and you instantly jumped in?
I was introduced to EXP by Allison Gaddy and Jean Frederick. And Allison was like, we want fee. Like they came and targeted me. And so when Jean Frederick presented me the model, and I still have the pieces of paper, the sheets of paper, if y'all know about how Jean does his paper napkin or paper presentation at the Corner Bakery in Austin, Texas. He used to sit there at 10, 1, and 10, 1, and 3 every day. Like he would sit in this Corner Bakery restaurant. And so he presented to me, and within 15 minutes, I already knew I was coming. Yeah, I got it immediately because as a business, like I'm an entrepreneur. I was like, oh, stock, ownership, training, all this. I was like, it was a no-brainer. It was so easy. I was like, okay, got this. Yeah. And yeah, so I was introduced to it in 2016, but because I had a business arrangement with a territory arrangement, I couldn't come until like 4 months later. But I was out. Let's go.
Let's go.
Got it immediately. Yeah.
And since you came on the EXP, obviously you've been able to have leadership roles, which is huge. But what has it done for your business? Because I think for a lot of people, they're afraid that their business is going to come to a halt. And so for you being in one of the larger demographics when it comes to real estate, the state of Texas, there's so many real estate transactions. Did your business slow down when you first started because people didn't really know who EXP was? Or what did that look like for you?
Actually, what's funny is it personally reinvigorated me personally, because a lot of the time when our business isn't going well, it's usually us, it's our
Mm.
mindset. And so EXP made real estate fun again. And when I got that, I was like, oh man, so my business started going on. And then the collaboration, right? So then there is collaboration. And now, to be honest with you, I'm like, it's crazy because I now have, because of the network, the BN network or 1XP, or because of our collaboration, our workplace collaboration, I now have, I have referrals from all over the country, and people reaching out even internationally.
Yeah, you've referred me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So
Right,
that's
right,
the
right.
power, the
Yeah, yeah.
collaboration. And that was one thing that it's hard for you to experience it until you're really in there. And that, like, in your local marketplace, no matter what national brokerage or even independent brokerage that you're at, there's not a lot of collaboration, because at the end of the day, it's still dog eat dog. But here, there truly is collaboration, because the more marketing, the more branding, the more that you emphasize on the leadership and the values that are baked into our DNA, just like you said, the more everyone wins, because if nothing else, our stock will continue to go up. The media will continue to talk about us. Our leadership will continue to be diverse. And so I love all of that. But yeah, most people, they just like you said, it's in their own mindset, and they think that their business is going to go down. And when people ask me, and my business has never went down, because your business is what you make it, right? If your business is going down, that's because of the fact that you stop making calls, right? You don't talk to your sphere or anybody who's done business with you before. You stop prospecting. You stop marketing yourself. You stop talking about the market and keeping a pulse on what's going on in your local marketplace to continue to educate. That's why your business went down. It wasn't because your brokerage changed.
Yeah, exactly. People don't care about a brand behind you. Maybe in some instances people go, I've never heard of that real estate company. But that's what I love about the EXP marketplace, is that the brand is you. And that's what
Mm.
they teach us. The business is you, right? That those letters behind you don't make the business, right? Yeah, yeah.
It's just the brokerage to support you, because and we all need that no matter what. Think of yourself as a franchise owner. If you go like McDonald's, if your particular location succeeds or fails, is not because McDonald's, right? They're going to still have the same product. But if you come out there and you fail, McDonald's had the system for you. They had the name for you, no matter what brokerage that you're at, and they had the tools for you. You still got to hire. You still got to be a leader. You still got to show up and lead by example every day. And so hopefully somebody hears that. I want to ask, I guess the couple questions left. The first thing that I want to ask you is, you've done so many things and you've been so prosperous, and it's amazing to watch. But if there is one thing, and I know a lot of people, they say I wouldn't change anything, and that's great. But knowing the wisdom that you've accumulated over these last 16 years, even knowing if you could go back and you could change one thing, or if there was one thing that you wish that you would have implemented sooner to accelerate your path on your journey, what would that one thing be?
Wow. That's a great, great question. Ooh, I'm gonna steal that for my show.
Okay.
It more than anything, it's putting down my ego and pride and asking for more help.
Mm,
We tend to, especially in our culture, we tend to be ego driven or prideful, and we don't ask for help because we want to seem prosperous and prosperous and successful. And so when you go, what's the true test of success and strength and leadership is asking for help
mm.
and knowing your limitations, and and putting people around you and a network around you of people who can help take you to your next higher level, or your next happy place. Yeah. That's probably number one, is getting more help. Yeah. Asking
Yeah,
for help.
and I think people are still struggling with that today, because it's a comparison world, and I love that you said that, but it truly is a comparison world, and regardless if you want to or not, it's very hard to not, because when you turn on social media, no matter what platform, and you feel like you're doing good, there's always somebody out there that makes you feel like you're not doing enough, and
Right.
so with that, you don't want to be vulnerable, especially if you're perceived to be, like you said, prosperous or already, and now all of a sudden you got to ask for help. It makes you've already told yourself that I'm good, and it's the stories that you tell yourself. So the more that we can be aware and continue to be vulnerable, that is the way that we'll continue to break out of our shell. And at the end of the day, getting uncomfortable is where your true growth comes from, and you have to get uncomfortable to ask for help, is naturally, I don't know where that clicks or where that stops, because as a baby, like my daughter, 2.5, she turns 3 on Tuesday. But long story short, she has no problem with asking for help. Kids don't.
Right.
But at some point, you break that cycle where it's like, nope, I'm too old now. Can't ask for help. Nope,
Yeah.
I'm 14. No one
Yeah.
asks for help at 14.
Yeah.
Right? And then when you're
Yeah.
like, I'm 30, I damn sure wasn't asking for help at 14. Definitely, I'm going to die behind this.
Exactly. And we just keep doing the same thing, banging your head into these walls and stuff because you're like, I could figure it out. I'm smart. I could figure it out by myself.
And here's one of the best quotes. I hope somebody really is listening, watching, and taking heed. But one of my mentors told me, and he got it because Tony told him, but he said, if you get an opportunity to learn from someone else, Tony always says, you got to understand you have an opportunity to turn decades into days. Right?
Ooh, yeah.
You get an opportunity to turn decades into days. If you've been doing this 6 years from now, you've been doing this for 20 years. I first get into the game. If I can learn from you, I got an opportunity to turn 2 decades into 2 months. Right? Like, why would I not? I've seen a couple different recessions, right? Now I know. And if you wrote in a book, if you have a blog, that's the easiest way to me to just consume everything. I love it.
It's there. It's out there. It's there. Yeah.
It's so there. The last question that I have for you is, there's somebody out there that, again, they love your story. They love the way that you lead, and they love everything about you, and they want to blaze a path just like you've done. But they have that little voice in their head. That little voice says that they're not smart enough, they're not strong enough, or maybe they just don't have enough resources. What's the one thing that you would say to that person to get them to just take action?
This thing that I live by is everything that you need is already inside of you. And so that voice that's in your head that's telling you that you're not good enough, that you're not smart enough, that you're too fat, or you're black, or you're handicapped, or physically challenged, those are the lies that kind of keep you small. And so I forget, it's like Marianne Williamson's quote that says, we're not afraid of being small, but we're afraid of who we could be, and who are we to be small and play small, but it's our greatness. And so I'm always just encouraging women, in particular, and then people of color, to not listen to that, to listen to that still small voice, not the one that's outside that's yelling out to you. It's that inner voice, that still place inside you, and listen to it, and put yourself around people who are like-minded thinkers, and believers like you. That's it.
Absolutely. Environment is everything. Osmosis
Yeah.
and proximity to like-minded people is everything.
Everything.
This has been a phenomenal conversation. If nobody else has told you today, I want to be the first one to say I appreciate you, and also kick off the thank you train. For anyone who wants to stay connected with you, where can they find you at?
Everything is Feed Gentry. So my Twitter handle's Feed Gentry, Instagram Feed Gentry, Facebook Feed Gentry, website Feed Gentry. Yeah, I'd love to be able to talk to them. I want to get a nice little gift in their hand about. I always give a giveaway about a checklist for agents, especially women and people of color, of how they can leverage them being exactly who they are in the marketplace. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that we put all of those links in the show notes. But again, DreamNation, just as she said, you have to suppress that little voice, and you have to surround yourself with other people, because that dream you had, or you have, will only merely be a fantasy if you don't find a way to take action on it. That's all we have for this one. We'll catch you on the next one. First, I want to say thank you for allowing me to walk with you on this real estate journey. If you've gotten anything out of this episode, do me a favor and head on over to iTunes if you have access, and leave me a review. My whole goal is to make sure that I'm serving you all the right way. You're my tribe. You're who I care about. You're why I do this. So if you want to give me any type of thanks, or if you want to let me know whatever your thoughts or your feelings are from this episode or any other episode that you've listened to, leave me a rating or review. And also, if you're looking for more tips, strategies, and even resources when it comes to leveling up your real estate game, head on over to DreamNationAcademy.com. We have a really cool real estate section there, and it's something that I wish that I would have had when I first got started in real estate. So that's DreamNationAcademy.com. Don't wait. I'll see you on the other side.